Hey, it's Lemon. Welcome to the Backlogs. Hope you're doing well. Quick question, is it just me, or is Dark Souls looking a little weird today? Yes indeed, you read that title correctly. We're going to actually dip into my backlog and play a game I've never actually beaten before. Super Mario Bros. 1 for the NES. For those that don't know, this game was a package deal when the NES launched. If you bought an NES, you not only got Duck Hunt and Super Mario Bros. On the same cartridge, but also a controller and a Zapper light gun. Essentially the Wii Sports equivalent of the Wii, for those of you who are too young to remember the NES. Look at those 1985 graphics. Mario didn't even have his iconic look yet. Weird, right? But anyway, for those of you who haven't played the game before, if you've played any of the dozens of Mario side-scroller games that exist, you already know how this game works. Run to the right, jump on or over baddies, occasionally go down warp pipes, all that jazz. The formula has basically had the same bones for the last, 41 years. Now that's dedication. Obviously there's been a few changes to Mario over the years, or that whole 3D thing they decided to try. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm not going to have to explain a lot of mechanics today. What you see is pretty much what you get, and you only get like 3 mechanics, which means we can knock out the explanation side of the challenge run in 10 seconds. See how fast I'm moving? This is Mario's running speed. It lets him speed through levels, and more importantly, increases his jump height and jump distance. And this is his movement speed while he's walking. Which begs the question, if Mario can't get his maximum distance or height while traversing the levels, are they even doable? Well, that's what we're here to find out. Can you beat Super Mario Bros. 1 for the NES without running?
But first, a word from today's sponsor, Wand. Is your life so busy that you literally only have 30 minutes a day to play games on a good day? Tired of games that expect you to put your entire life on hold and devote hundreds of hours to a grind just to see the next part of the game? Wand has you covered, because with Wand, you can customize your gaming experience, whether that means changing the rules of the game itself, or just getting a little help with your next objective. And it couldn't be easier. Just press Alt-W to open Wand's overlay, look up the game you're currently playing, and there you go. Easy access to all the tools you need. Tired of mining iron ore for the 700th time in Terraria? Now you don't have to. Need to get from point A to point B in Grime, but only have a few minutes? Increase that walking speed. Just want to goof off in Skyrim on your weekend? Get silly with it. Have some fun. And if adjusting the game itself isn't really what you're looking for, Wand has you covered there too, with their interactive maps, which not only give you fully fleshed out descriptors, but also lets you and others add short clips to each point for the more obscure hidden items. Because at the end of the day, playing a game is all about having fun, and the last thing you need is burnout ruining your favorite hobby. The best part? If all of that sounded good to you, you can access all of these features of Wand completely for free. So click my link in the description or pin comment down below and play games your way.
So, let's discuss how Mario 1 works. For those of you who have never played, Mario 1 is broken up into 8 worlds, and each world has 4 levels. They're not wildly different, like they become in later games, but you get the idea. And at the end of each world, you have a castle that you have to clear, complete with lava, fireball traps, and at the end of each castle, Bowser. I guess this is before he had his 912 kids. Beat Bowser by jumping over him and chopping the bridge he's standing on with an axe, and you'll save Princess Peach. Eventually. We'll actually be saving a fuck ton of Toads, because none of them have the foresight to tell me which castle Peach is trapped in, but no good deed goes unpunished. But regardless, that's really all you need to know. 4 levels per world, 8 worlds in the game. 32 levels of jump and shoot. Just jump and shoot. Wait, wrong game. But in any case, now that you know what we're up against, let's get to work, shall we? Alright, 1-1. Basically the tutorial for the game, there's no issues here. We learn the ever-important mechanic of eat mushroom, get big, learn how to control our jump height by pressing and holding the jump button instead of just tapping it, and learn that bumping blocks above us can kill enemies. And if you're already big, finding another upgrade block will give you the Fire Flower, which means we can now take out almost every enemy in the game from a safe distance with the press of a button. I know, you all knew that already, but something you might not have known is that when you fire off a fireball, Mario actually tries to start running. Run failed, start over, fake channel, not even a real watermelon. Thankfully, I realized that here in 1-1, so for the rest of the game, I'm going to be doing my best to only use fireballs when standing still. There might be a few instances where I accidentally press it while moving a bit, but I promise that it won't affect the answer of whether or not a level is doable without running. In any case, we get to the final staircase at the end of the level, and take our measly 400 points from grabbing the flag. And just like that, that's 1-1 complete. Only 31 more levels to go. Can't wait. Alright kids, it's piping time. Time to pipe all over the place. This is an underground level. They're all about confined spaces and tight corridors, which can be a real problem due to how floaty Mario is when jumping and running, is what I would say if we were, running, but we're not. And strangely, that makes Mario's controls feel tight and easy to use. Turns out the reason I never beat this game was because I was always rushing. Who'd have thought? Nothing to see here, just a simple warm-up level. Or so it would seem. Because if you take this elevator up and over the level itself, you can actually find a warp zone. These zones allow you to skip entire worlds, and there are 3 of them hidden throughout the game. This one in particular lets you skip to 2-1, 3-1, or 4-1, and they're the reason most players have never seen 90% of this game. In the interest of being thorough, we are not going to do what everyone else does when presented with such power, and we're going to do our best to go through every level. For science! Anyway, after rejecting Nintendo Satan and his ways, that's level 1-2 complete. Oh look, this level has trees. How nice and calming. Wrong. Not only did the devs at Nintendo decide it would be a good idea to make the leaves of the tree a completely solid block, because jump-through platform technology wasn't invented yet, I guess, but we also have these moving platforms to contend with. Or, to be more accurate, the wonky speed physics that they introduce. Not the end of the world by any stretch of the imagination, but another problem to put in our worry bucket. A bucket I'm going to do my best not to kick over during this run. Hoo boy, it's castle time. Hope you all brought your fireproof long johns today, because I did not. Which is a real shame, because apparently so much as lightly grazing the flame wheel here is enough to devolve us all the way back down to Baby Mario. I guess the whole getting hurt reduces your size by 1 thing wasn't introduced until later in the series. Forgot about that. But baby legs or no, we've got a mission to dump Bowser into some lava. And I'll be damned if some overgrown turtle tells me what to... Okay, never mind, I guess. Alright, let's do some pros and cons. Pros, being smaller means a smaller hitbox, and I don't have to duck under Bowser's fire. Cons, the hitboxes in this game make me want to die. Not as much as Bowser, apparently, but originality has never been his strong suit, so we'll just let him have this one. And with Toad saved and our Princess in Another Castle, that's all of World 1 complete. Alright, World 2, Electric Boogaloo. You know the drill by now. Hit head, get mushroom. Commit triple homicide using the very bodies of your victims as weapons. Hit head again, get flower. Tale as old as time. And while the level itself isn't very interesting, this does give us a fun little way of measuring our jump distance. This gap here is 4 blocks wide, and Mario appears to be able to jump at least 5. So with this in mind, we now know whether or not we need to panic about certain jumps. Not right now, mind you, but let's just keep that 5-block jump distance in mind for later, yeah? Oh boy, it's everyone's favorite thing in every Mario game, the underwater levels. I'm gonna tell you right now, the mechanics for Mario swimming are weird. I'm not holding the sprint button, but I can tell you with certainty that Mario is still accelerating as he swims. I'm guessing that's because there's no block friction telling the game to slow him down, but that's just a guess. The game also has a tendency to suddenly drop you like a rock if you bump into literally anything, so that's cool. In the end, I just accepted the fact that swimming is not, in fact, running, and therefore the underwater levels are basically just freebies. And you know what? Considering some of the nonsense we're gonna have to do later, we take those. Because trust me, this run is not going to be smooth sailing for much longer. 2-3 introduces a new element, the bridge. Basically a never-ending wave of pseudo-randomly spawning enemies, the whole difficulty with this level comes from dodging the enemies while simultaneously dealing with platforming. It's a bit annoying, but after a few tries you kinda get the rhythm for it. And after dodging more fish than I've ever caught in my life, that's another level down. Boy, I sure hope there's no more of that in this game. There's more of that in this game, isn't there? Oh look, another castle filled with lava and fireballs. Again. I guess Bowser just really likes his interior decorator. Oh, who are we kidding? Bowser is his interior decorator. Wait, are interior decorators real? Like, I've never seen one before, and if they do exist, how do you find one? These are the questions that keep me up at night. Huh? Oh, I used iframes to jump over Bowser's bullshit hitbox. World 2 complete. Alright, World 3. A little dark out here, but other than that, nothing's really changed. Jump over pits, commit mass mushroom murder, and just overall keep on keeping on. There's some new enemy types now, like the Hammer Bros, who are going to be a real pain in my dome further into the run, but for now, we just bump their block and call it good. And find the next enemy of the run, the trampoline. Yeah, I know, but hear me out. I've played later Mario games. I know how this is supposed to work. Hold A, jump higher, right? Well, not true for this particular game. For Mario 1, you gotta press A right as the trampoline reaches max compression. Otherwise, you just kinda... But with the trampoline tech now understood, completing 3-1 is a simple matter of jumping and shooting. Still the wrong game, but hey, if it works, it works. Level 3-2 is what I like to call an enemy gauntlet level. which, in case you were wondering, is exactly what it sounds like. Walk to the right, defeat the enemies that appear. Or you can just jump over them all if that's more your speed. Either way works, just so long as you keep moving to the right. Very simple level with minimal platforming. Moving on. Oh good, the trees and moving platforms are back, my favorite. This time though, the platforms have some new mechanics. Pulleys and ropes and gravity, oh my. The level itself isn't too bad, in all honesty, but I am once again reminded that platforms in this game are always 100% solid. Can't wait for that to bite me in the metaphorical mushroom. Easy game for babies, on to 3-4. Castle 3-4 is where the game suddenly decides to take things up a notch. The platform timing is a bit trickier than before, and if you're big Mario here, you'll need to remember how to duck. You press down, by the way, in case you were wondering. Alternatively, you can just do like I did and be a short king. I don't know why this works for me, but every time I'm short stack Mario, I just feel more powerful. Kind of the 1985 equivalent of wearing no armor in Dark Souls. Still no princess, still another castle. Time for World 4. Alright, a new enemy type. It's Lakitu, and he's tired of hauling your sorry ass out of the water in Mario Kart, and is raining death from on high in the form of Spinies. Essentially just the bridge level, but with higher stakes. The secret technique is, are you ready for it? Moving right. I know, insane, but look at the results. Lakitu has terrible aim, and he has even worse aim if you're moving. So just keep moving right. He'll throw Spinies behind you, you'll progress through the level, and everybody wins in the end. Nice try, buddy. Better luck next time. Wait, what do you mean there's a next time? Back to the underground and out of the mainstream. Not out of harm's way, unfortunately, but we take what we can get. As with all of the underground levels, you can skip a large portion of them if you just walk on the ceiling. And I do mean a large portion of them, like more or less the entire level. And outside of panicking for a second or two after finding one of the first enemies that I can't just blast with fireballs, that's another level dead and gone. Huh, that was weird. It almost looked like I died there for a second. Back into the light we go, and into 4-3 we casually stroll. No trees this go around, just a bunch of spotted mushrooms. Very good, no worries, we'll just clear the turtles and... Okay, bit of a gap there. I guess we need to... Right, okay, can't go over it, but we can always go under it. Once more with feeling. And with less concussions, please, if you would. In the interest of confirming that my game wasn't broken, I did use the sprint button to see if that changes anything. And boy howdy does it. Apparently, sprinting not only increases your run speed, but also your jump height. So yeah, welcome to 4-3, aka my own personal hell. We obviously can't sprint jump to the next platform, so we're gonna have to think a bit outside of the box with this one. And so began the experiments. I tried seeing if ducking while jumping would give me a little extra height, but unfortunately that doesn't do anything. And then I tried to get a little extra height off of the enemies on the platform. But yeah, that's not a thing in this game. I never would have guessed it, but apparently the ability to hop off of enemies was added in later games, which means no matter how close we get that turtle to the edge, we'll never be able to jump over or across the gap. And after spending over an hour jumping and shooting and dying on repeat, I just can't make it work, which is incredibly frustrating to me, because if we can just find a way past this stupid jump, the rest of the level is completely doable without running. In fact, it's an incredibly easy level, just a few pulley platforms to jump over, and you're essentially home free. The worst part? The game gave me false hope. You can't actually bounce off of enemies, but due to weird physics, you sometimes get the impression that you can when you jump off of flying Koopas. Boy howdy, that's frustrating. But the run's not dead, because for those of you who don't know, there are 2 warp pipe rooms back on 4-2 that can warp us to worlds 5 through 8. And while I'm not super excited to have to use it, now we know. If we can find a way to get past that early level jump, 4-4 is on the table. And the next level is just another simple castle. No hard jumps, no wonky mechanics, just a simple castle clear. But until then, let's take the L and warp over to World 5. Oh boy, another enemy gauntlet. Just what I wanted. No, really, these enemy gauntlets are almost a relief to come across, because it means the platforming is easy, and so long as I keep bashing my head against the wall, it'll eventually fall down. Ah, my good friend the trampoline. How you doing, bud? Alright, fuck you too, I guess. Not gonna lie, this level sucks. Not in any meaningful way, just more of a why did you design it like this kind of way. You get past one obstacle by the skin of your teeth, and the game immediately slaps your hand away like you're a toddler reaching for cookies. And I want my cookies. This level is awful. There's a part of me that's curious how much easier this level would be if I could actually run, but we're gonna shove that part deep down where I can't hear it anymore, because I don't want to do this again. Well, well, if it isn't trees and bullets, my favorite combination. Almost as good as peanut butter and onions, or cats and water. Wait, those are terrible combinations. Ah well, still appropriate, because bullets and trees are really not doing it for me either. Not the worst level I've done so far, but definitely far from the best. I give it a solid french fries and dog spit out of 5.3. Oh boy, it's a castle. We love our castles. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. No, we don't. This is awful. Who did this? I want their names. Nah, nothing to see here. Fire everywhere, a couple tricky timing jumps over pits of lava and such, but in the end, just another copy-paste job by Bowser. Still no princess, still no end in sight. Well, it's time for another nighttime stroll. And we've got our buddy Lakitu keeping us company. What a swell guy. Zero resistance on this one. Just walk to the right, and 6-1 becomes 6-2 before you know it. You know what this game needs more of? Piranha plants. So let's do that. More piranhas. Lots more piranhas. No, really, no mercy. Just put pipes and plants everywhere. I want Little Shop of Horrors to be jealous. That said, aside from getting bitten in half more times than I'd like to admit, the platforming is easy enough, and aside from a couple enemy placements that are clearly supposed to rustle your jimmies, that's 6-2 complete. Hey, it's Lemon. Welcome to how I see the world, apparently. Because who needs to be able to distinguish between colors, am I right? Gotta admit, it is a weird feeling to learn that you've been experiencing the world differently from others after being alive for several decades. Like when you describe to a friend that you're not a fan of Sunny D because of how it burns your throat, just to find out that you're allergic to fake juice. Gives you a bit of the old vertigo, flipping your entire world upside down like that. But fuck it, we ball. Now I just drink Sunny D for the thrill. Tangent over, easy level, moving on. Okay, castle number 6. Wonder what kind of new mechanics and nonsense we're gonna have to deal with today. Will it be fireballs and lava? Or lava and fireballs? Gosh, with Bowser, you never really know, do ya? Wait, who gave this man hammers? Who gave this man hammer? Whatever. Short King always wins. Thread the needle, kill the tortoise. Yes, he's a tortoise. I don't care that he looks like a snapping turtle in later games. I've never seen him step 1 foot in water, and that makes him a tortoise. Still no peaches. Sad. Time for World 7, or as I like to call it, America. You can tell it's the good old US of A because the air is 70% bullets right now. Immediate giveaway. Go ahead, let me play Super Mario Bros. GeoGuessr. I'll get it right every time. This level is technically another enemy gauntlet, so there's no real risk to getting stuck, but good lord, do Bullet Bill and his 6,358 cousins need to calm down. Oh, and the Hammer Bros can go pound sand. I know they're easy if you sprint past them before they can throw hammers, but I can't do that, so it's the inconsistency that bugs me. Sometimes there's only one Hammer Bro, sometimes they spawn in wrong and end up on the wrong platforms. It's just a giant mess. But mess though it may be, my friends Bill, William, and Billiam give me all the encouragement and confidence I need to succeed. Maybe the real 7-1 was all the bullets we made along the way. Or maybe I'm just rolling and re-rolling the levels over and over again until I get good RNG. You'll never know, I'll never tell, and that's how we both like it, so let's just move on. 7-2 is another water level, which means that we've got a free pass on this one. The only thing you have to worry about is your sanity, because good God, Mario controls like a semi-truck with 3 flat tires and marshmallow fluff inexplicably jammed into the gear shift. But joke's on you, game, I lost that years ago. Add another level to the pile. Okay, I'm starting to think the developers started running out of ideas at this point in the game. No shame or anything, considering they only had like 3 mechanics to work with, but yeah, nothing new to see here. Just time your jumps, avoid the fish like you have a seafood allergy, and the level is yours. Side note, are turtles considered seafood when it comes to having a fish allergy? What about shellfish? Is that a thing? Yes, I know turtles are reptiles, but the human body is weird, man. It doesn't care about semantics. Someone let me know in the comments. Like, don't go testing it if you're already allergic to fish, but surely someone has the answer to this already. Now I know what you're thinking. Bowser, you absolute madman. We don't have the budget for this many fireballs and lava pits. And you're right. So this time around, the castle becomes an infinite hallway. Which, I'm a bit embarrassed to admit, took me a few goes around to notice. Don't look at me like that. This entire game is made out of like 10 block textures, and the last few worlds have been slightly adjusted copies of previous ones. There was a non-zero chance that they decided to just make a repeating level to fuck with the players. Speaking of, I did not figure out the order of operations you're supposed to use to progress until I literally ran out of time, which is exactly the kind of old school gaming nonsense that I live for. Nintendo hard, baby! We didn't have checkpoints and bonfires that let us learn from our mistakes. You got one run, and if you didn't figure out the obscure mechanic before you ran out of lives, I hope you mastered all the previous obscure mechanics in the game because you're going back to the beginning. And while the adult part of my brain screams at the thought of having to start this entire game over, Little Lemon is happily clapping, because this kind of nonsense was my childhood. Playing a game so many times that you knew it inside and out was just a rite of passage. Something you did on a weekend with your friends in your parents' basement around a tube TV, with the dingy lights too low and your eyes squinting at the screen. And you didn't have a choice either. Throwing yourself at the problem again and again was the only way to solve it. We didn't have the internet. All we had was playground rumors and that one kid that claimed his dad worked at Nintendo. Information bought and sold on the blacktop market with Pokemon cards and marbles. But because I like you, I'm gonna give you a deal. I'll tell you the secret code. Ready? Down, middle, up, up, middle. Did you get all that? Good, because I'm not gonna say it again. And just to make life difficult for you, up, up, down, down, left, right, B, A, select, start. Now get out of here. We never met, and I didn't tell you nothing. The Final Frontier, World 8. If ever there was going to be a time for the game to stop me, it's now. Unfortunately for Super Mario Bros., it's a bit difficult to stop me when you give me a gauntlet level. Yes sir, another level tossed on the pile. Okay, maybe I just jumped too early. What if we wait until the last block? Oh fuck. Hey Mario, I know I said this would be the place to stop me, but you didn't have to take that so personally. But yeah, this jump is impossible for Mario to make. He simply can't clear the distance, even when I push Mario as close to the edge as I can. And being larger Mario doesn't help either. But then, an idea. If we inch the screen forward just enough, we can trigger the upcoming Goombas to spawn. They won't spawn until you're technically past the last block, but if you jump off and pull yourself back, there you go. And because Goombas yearn for death, like children yearn for the mines, we can use them to get just enough height to clear the jump. Elation! Elevation! Consternation! Thankfully the rest of the level is just a test of basic mechanics, so we're good to go on that one. But man oh man does it feel good to use my brain like that. I haven't thrown my hands up in the air after getting past a challenge run brick wall like that in years. Who fucking rah? Let's keep this momentum going. Speaking of keeping momentum, it's another Lakitu level. And you know things are getting serious, because that was a trampoline I just jumped over. I mean, the bullets and the buzzies are also a problem, I guess, but that thing scares me. But no time for that, because the game is pulling out all the stops now. Another gap that's too large to cross. Same distance as before, and this time we don't have any Goombas that we can entice with the promise of a swift death. But if we once again call upon the power of friendship, our friend Bill here is more than happy to help us across, giving us the boost we need to reach the other side. 8-2 complete. That finish line is almost within sight. I can just taste it. 8-3 appears to be the walls outside of Bowser's castle. Or rather, his 8th and final castle. You know, considering he's apparently some sort of real estate mogul. Nothing too crazy going on here, aside from some Hammer Bro shenanigans. Since when can they jump between platforms? What are you— Just kidding. It was an easy level. Do not question your short king. 8-4. The final castle and final level of the entire game. If we can manage this, victory is ours. And after jumping across this lava pool by utilizing the hidden platform, we can progress through the rest of the level with— You saw that too, right? Bowser, you son of a bitch. I should have known you'd be too cheap to throw out a mechanic after only one use. We're stuck in a loop again. This time around, instead of picking a height level, we need to pick the right pipes. Pick the right pipes, and you'll get propelled past the loop point and be able to dive further into the level. Pick the wrong pipe, and you'll get sent all the way back to the beginning of the castle. It's a thing of beauty, I tell you what. But alright, you've been a good boy or girl and have been kind enough to sit here listening to Grandpa yap, so I'll give you another secret. The first pipe after the lava platform, the floating pipe with the hidden block, then the first pipe after the lava pool. Do all of that, and you'll get access to Bowser's private hot tub. You're welcome. But if you're here for victory, and not just to get a 30-minute soak-in, you need to get past this final Hammer Bro, then it's just a simple jump over to— No. Oh, you bastard! I threw myself at this jump over and over again, hoping that by some miracle I would be able to cross this pit. That something would happen that would give me the secret I needed to get past this brick wall. But then, I noticed it. Right there. Did you see it? This insignificant little hiccup, right here. It only happens sometimes, but it does happen. And like a forgotten piece of Lovecraftian knowledge emerging from the folds of my brain, I remembered. Ladies and gentlemen, the wall jump. This technique has been known by the speedrun community for some time, and while I don't understand it myself, they were kind enough to explain it to us for the sake of this video. Essentially, when Mario jumps onto a wall, there is a very brief moment where he clips into it. And if you press the jump button at the exact right moment, there you go. Wall jump. And with the final wall literally passed, all that's left to do is give Bowser his due, and we've officially saved the day. So long, Bowser. Shame they never used him in any of the other Mario games. Such a great boss. Oh my god, Princess Peach is actually real. I was beginning to expect it was just going to be Toad in a dress. Almost disappointed that it's not, if I'm being honest. But that Super Mario Bros. 1 officially beaten without running. But we're not done yet, because we've got one stain on our otherwise perfect record that needs removing. Level 4-3. Alright, here we go. Remember, if we can just figure out a way past this first jump, that's it. The rest of the game is completely doable without running. I feel like I was thorough enough with my first attempts to know that jump height and enemy placement isn't going to help us here, but what about the wall jump? Does that work? Well, sadly, no, it doesn't. Despite my many attempts, I never once saw the same little hiccup that we saw at Bowser's Castle. And after talking to the speedrun Discord a bit, I now know why. According to people much more familiar with the mechanic than myself, jumping off of the mushroom is simply impossible, because it's not a large enough block. The mechanics simply won't work. But there is, in fact, another way. Unfortunately though, it has yet to be done by human hands. But because people are absolutely insane, someone made a tool-assisted run for the exact same thing I was trying to do. And it looks like, this. Just completely normal behavior, all the way through. But machines being horrifying aside, here's what you would have to do if you wanted to walk through 4-3. Flip the Koopa and knock it to the left, then kick it to the left again and get it stuck in between the edge of the screen and the mushroom. Then, once it wakes up, it'll realize that it's the one and proceed to break the matrix, ignoring gravity, solid platforms, and everything in between. And once it hovers its way over to the center of the gap, you can hop on its shell and moonwalk on your merry way. Now, there was some discussion about whether or not this trick was humanly possible, and a few runners of the speedrun Discord seemed to think it was. But they admitted that it was an extremely hard trick and basically too hard for anyone to go for. But if you're looking for a world first, I think you have your homework assignment. But with that, that's Super Mario Bros. 1 for the NES, completed without running. Full stop. Shame I don't have the infinite time to try to replicate that Koopa glitch myself, but Dark Souls Region Lock Episode 2 isn't gonna write itself. I also wish we had more time to explore the New Game Plus mode that Peach hints at the end of the game. From the brief look I took, it seems like it's the same level designs, but injected full of harder enemies, which means there's an off chance that 4-3 could be possible without crazy glitches, depending on which enemies they put in the beginning of the level. But that's a question for another time. Thanks for watching. Hope you had as good a time watching as I did making this video. I actually really enjoy playing the games that were the building blocks for modern gaming, so if you enjoy watching me break them, make sure you do all the YouTube things so that YouTube tells me to make more videos like this. But other than that, that's all I've got. Take care of yourselves, be good to one another, and I'll see you all again soon.